Yes, Beverley, certainly for the last 7 or 8 weeks we know how bad this situation has been, but now based on all the weight of evidence, on everything we're seeing coming out of Gaza, it appears to be the indiscriminate killing by Israel of a large number of Palestinian civilians.
You were talking there of numbers of, and I've heard the IDF spokespeople saying that at a ratio of 2 to 1, this is actually what they consider quite a good outcome if that many militants are being killed in proportion to civilians. But nevertheless, civilian casualties are not supposed to happen.
Well, that's right. And the United States is increasingly concerned, as the Vice President Kamala Harris has said, too many innocent Palestinian civilians have died. They're now urging Israel to change the way it's prosecuting this war. One of the problems we're seeing right now, is the Israeli Air Force has been dropping leaflets across Gaza with QR codes on them, and that's meant to guide people as to where to go or not go. But a lot of the phones aren't working, the internet connections, the communications, of course, the Palestinian Red Crescent, the ambulance service can't even make contact with ambulances. And so, and they've divided, according to the New York Times, the Israeli army has divided Gaza into 2,400 different divisions, different blocks, different numbers. And so these leaflets are saying to people, move from Area 142 to Area 140. We're about to bomb, Area 280. And the Gazans are saying, our phones aren't working. We don't know where to go. It is so imprecise. It would be like in Melbourne saying we're going to bomb Northcote but not Coburg. We're going to bomb Elwood but not St Kilda. And so Gazans really, because so many of them have moved south at the urging of Israel said move south to get out of the war zone. Now Israel is saying the whole of Gaza is a war zone. So these 2 million or so people are now crammed into a very small area, and Israel is now bombing that. So it looks like the Red Cross and others are right. It looks like we're on the verge of an apocalyptic human catastrophe.
Yeah. Israel says it has taken control of some of the Hamas control posts in the north, so that the job is pretty much complete in the north, but this new fresh operation will take up to 2 months. When you consider some of the people that are sheltering in just Khan Younis as an example, there could be many, many more civilian casualties.
That's right. People like James Elder from UNICEF are saying that, this is just getting worse and worse all the time. The doctors are saying that, and in the hospitals, most of the hospitals aren't functioning, but the ones that are, some of the doctors and some of the nurses and assistants are saying that there's children there, 6, 7, 8-year-old children who have been orphaned. Their parents have been killed, and they're walking around the hospital, to use the words of one of the medical people, with no one to care for them, because the doctors are too busy trying to operate on the people who are injured, who are coming in from the fresh bombings, that no one's able to take care of any of these children. And so UNICEF and others are saying, that this just cannot go on. And I think the United States, we've seen Lloyd Austin, Defence Secretary, we've seen Antony Blinken, now the US Vice President, are all saying to Israel, you cannot keep this broad brush approach. Now, Israel is saying we're being very strategic, we're doing everything we can to avoid civilian casualties. That may be the case, they may be doing that, but if they are doing that, then it's failing dismally. A lot of civilians are being killed, and of course the Israeli military, as you said in your introduction, are now the reports here in Israel where I am, are that the Israeli military is agreeing that the death toll in Gaza is about more than 15,000, which more or less accords with the Gaza Ministry of Health, and they're saying that 2/3 of that are civilians.
John, what sort of pressure, when you are in Israel, what sort of pressure is the government coming under? Because, of course, there are still hostages that are being held by Hamas and have not been released, and the safety of those hostages must become perilous if there are no more negotiations taking place.
That's right, Beverley. I'm in Tel Aviv. Not far from here is what they now call Hostage Square, where they have pictures of the hostages, families regularly turn up there, and the pressure within Israel on Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, is please make the hostages a priority before the ground war, before you go into southern Gaza. That needs to be the priority. There's still about 120 or so hostages who are somewhere in Gaza, and the families are saying, please get them out. The extraordinary political situation here where I am is that Benjamin Netanyahu, his stocks are very low, his popularity is very low. Bar-Ilan University did a poll recently of Jewish Israelis, their attitudes to whether they trusted Mr. Netanyahu or not to run the war. 4% only said they trusted him. And so, in a way, his fate is probably sealed the moment the war's over, because a lot of Israelis that I speak to say, he didn't protect us. The primary duty of a leader is to protect their citizens. Look at October 7, when Hamas came into southern Israel, committed all sorts of horrible atrocities, took women, took children, took a 10-month-old baby hostage, and a lot of Israelis are saying that he failed on that measure. But in the middle of a war, they don't want to change leaders. So he is there as long as the war continues.
John, appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.